Welcome to UnCeiling You, the podcast that empowers ambitious women to take radical responsibility and break through barriers. I'm Dr. Natalie Luke, your host. Before we dive in, take a moment to download this episode so you can listen anytime, anywhere. If you love what you hear, please share it with your friends or social media network. Your support helps us grow. For those of you ready to take your ambition even further, consider joining our membership community. Imagine what you could achieve with the right tools and network. Our membership unlocks early episodes, practical workshops, and direct connections with inspiring leaders. Head to the show notes to join, download, or share. Now, let's get started with unsealing your potential and watch the ripple effect unfold. Here's a story that might hit close to home. A hiring manager was filling two marketing roles. A man and a woman were both chosen. The woman had more talent, but the man negotiated for more money. He got the higher salary because he asked. She didn't even ask for more. Sound familiar? This isn't just about one job. It's about a pattern, and it's costing women everywhere. In this episode of Unsealing You, we're joined by Paula Swain, founder of the Financial Center for Women. With over 20 years of experience, Paula is on a mission to help women take control of their financial futures, especially during life's most challenging transitions, like divorce, widowhood, or preparing for retirement.
Check one, check two, check.
Paula's insights will change how you think about money, from negotiation to long-term planning. She'll also reveal how small, powerful actions can create massive change, helping you gain confidence, clarity, and control over your finances. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for her advice on building a support system and thriving through transitions. Don't miss this chance to transform your financial journey with the expert guidance of Paula Swain. Listen now. Your future self will thank you.
Paula, I'm so happy to have you here. How can financial planning play a role in helping women feel more confident and prepared for transitions, especially when facing uncertainty in their careers?
Thanks for having me. So financial planning, you have to look at it as like your roadmap to where you want to be. So if you think about if you're going on a trip and you have the map all scheduled out where you're going to stop, what you're going to see, what's going to happen along the way, you feel a little bit more secure going on that trip because you have a plan. When you have a financial plan, it's kind of that same roadmap, except this is for your finances. So when you work with a financial planner, you kind of look at where you're at today and where you want to be, and then how you're going to get there. And so if you're juggling between children's and promotions and transitions of any sort, at least you have the start of a plan that can help you navigate those decisions if you need to make changes along the way.
That's great. And I think that, especially if someone like Sarah is interviewing and going for a promotion, knowing what that plan is, she knows what kind of questions to argue for herself.
Correct. She knows what she's looking for. So like whenever someone says that they're looking to change anything in their life, I always say to them, okay, what is it that you want to accomplish? And let's say it is a promotion and you're living on X. And in order to achieve your goals, you need Y. So what is that Y? So now you're going in for a promotion and you say, Sarah says to her human resources, who's ever interviewing, I need to have this, because she knows what that income level is that she needs to achieve those goals that she's trying to accomplish. If she goes in blindly, how is she going to know if she's going to be able to achieve those goals or not?
Right. And that promotion should be like a win-win. Win for her and win for the organization. She needs to know what it's going to take for her to win to achieve her dreams.
Always ask for more. Even though you know what it is that you want, always ask for more. Because you
It's
never
kind of
know.
interesting. Yeah, you never know. It was kind of interesting. I was one of the places that I worked. They this leader was telling me that she was hiring for two different marketing positions. Both of these people were starting at the same place, and so she ultimately ended up awarding one position to a woman, one position to a man. And the interesting thing is she really thought the woman was much more talented, and the woman didn't ask for more dollars, but the guy did. And guess what? He got it. And she wasn't able to really do anything for the girl because she never asked. I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. You would think, I don't know, that just seems kind of backwards to me. Like you would take the guy who asked for more
Well,
than the
she
girl who
had
was
two
qualified.
positions, so she hired both people.
She did.
But the guy
Okay.
came in at a higher rate because he asked for more.
Yeah. It's funny. I was golfing this weekend and it was freezing cold here in Michigan, and it was raining. And I said to this guy I was golfing with, I'm like, hey, that's a great jacket. When you're done, can I have it? And all my friends started laughing at me. They're like, Paula, what are you doing? And I'm like, you never know. I said, you always have to ask because you never know what you're going to get. I said, who knows? He might not really like the jacket and decide to give it to me.
Yeah, there you go. Did he give you the jacket?
No, I never asked for it again. But who knows? Wouldn't that have been funny if he would have taken it off and said, here you go, Paula, it's all yours.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. So another lady in our audience, Lisa, she's a divorced mid-career woman and she's considering a career change, but she's really not sure how to pivot financially. What advice do you have for women like Lisa who are facing significant challenges or may feel financially vulnerable?
So for Lisa, I would say first step number one is to work on your budget. So you know what's coming in, what's going out, so that you know when you make that transition. Again, same thing goes back to Sarah. You've got to know what you're asking for. You got to know what you're looking for because we don't want to take something less than what we need. It wouldn't make any sense to make that transition. I mean, it might make sense in the early stage if you know that there's chance down the road that you might be able to get a promotion or something that's going to increase your income. But we all have to make sure that we have enough coming in to cover our expenses as we're going through a period of transition. And also I would say is make sure that you have 3 to 6 months of emergency money put aside so that if you did make that transition, it wasn't giving you what you needed income-wise, but you knew in 6 months that you were going to be able to make that back. At least you have some money to be able to pull from, which will then give you that peace of mind going forward when you make any type of change.
That sounds great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So what are some of the things that you see that the divorced woman or the person that's going for that transition, what kind of mistakes do they make and how do you help them navigate those or recover from them?
Lots of times, let's go with divorce first. So
Okay.
a lot of mistakes I see when people are going through divorce is they don't reach out to someone like myself to go through prior to even asking for the divorce. What is it I'm going to need to get out of this divorce and have, not necessarily always not going to have the same lifestyle I have, but a lifestyle that I can deal with.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? Because I was talking to someone the other day and they're in the process of going through their settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, do you need that? Because she's fighting over something. I'm like, do you really need that? Like, is this the thing that you're really going to cause you guys to be butting heads? Is that emotional or is that something that you need? She doesn't know because she never sat down with someone to figure out what it is that she actually needs. You want to do that before you contact the divorce attorney. And also the other mistake people make is that all assets are not the same. So what I mean by that is if you have K money or IRA money, and then you have what we call non-qualified money, which is money that's put in after tax. K is before tax. Non-qualified money is after tax. those assets are handled differently. So after tax money, you have 100% access to without any tax implications. If you have IRA money, that's all taxable. So which asset would you prefer to have? So if I'm saying, hey, Sarah, we'll just go back to Sarah. Do you want an asset that you can have access to and there isn't going to be any tax implications if you need to liquidate it? Or do you want access to the asset that you have to pay taxes on when you liquidate? And it's a pretty simple answer. I want the other one. But most people don't know that.
Right.
They don't understand the difference. And so they'll make decisions about what asset that they want, not knowing the tax implications of that. So one more thing I'll say about that. Let's say that you were in the divorce settlement and you were receiving, $500,000. And it was that after tax, the non-qualified money, you get that. It's really worth $500,000, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if it's $500,000 in an IRA, it's not worth $500,000. They are not equal. Right. Because the other one is taxable. So depending on your tax bracket, you're going to lose part of that to the government. So again, you want to know the difference in the types of assets. I'm going to say one more thing too. Sorry.
Okay. Go for it.
I thought it was going to be the last thing I said. Also understanding income. So I have a friend, Mark, who's a mortgage broker who specializes in working with people going through divorce. And not all assets and not all income will help you qualify for a mortgage. And most people don't realize that. So that's another conversation you want to have with someone like Mark to say, hey, if I want this house, the family home, am I going to be able to refinance it? And if I am, what's going to be considered income and what's not going to be considered income? Because even though you receive child support, but they want to see that for 6 months.
I see.
Well, if you haven't received that child support for 6 months, it's, you know what I mean? It's not going to be considered income. So you want to know all of those things. It's not just so simple saying, hey, I want this asset, I want this income. You really want to know all the implications of what you're taking and why you're taking it and is it going to work for you and your benefit in the long run? Right.
So with some of the folks that we're going to have, some of the experts that we have on the show, we talk about the importance of having a vision and knowing what that vision is, knowing what it is that you really want, the kind of life that you want, the things that you want around you. And I could see where in order to really exact that vision, making sure that they talk with someone like you, Paula, is really important.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have, like, it was funny, just before we stepped onto this podcast, I was doing a 20-minute meditation on my vision.
Oh, that's cool.
So kind of fitting to have that question because you have to visualize what you want in order to receive it. Right. I mean, that's what I believe in. The whole mindset and abundance is that you have to visualize it to believe it. Right. And then even if you're visualizing it, you got to have some idea how you're going to get there. Just to say one day that I'm going to be a millionaire, you just keep putting out there in the universe and you write the check to yourself. It doesn't make you become a millionaire. You know what I mean? You have to. You have to have the vision of it, of course, but then you also have to know, like, when to realize when those opportunities are coming and to, know what steps are going to take to get you to those goals. And working with, I believe, not mindset coaches, but that's also a good one, but life coaches and financial advisors, and making sure you have, a good CPA, a good attorney around you helps you realize those visions faster, I believe, because you have a plan and you have ways of getting, how you're going to get there.
Exactly. Just taking your steps, and then it becomes clearer and the inevitable. So another thing that we've talked about is Girl Talk in your Girl Talks initiative. So you mentioned the importance of financial literacy, which is what you're talking about right now. And so someone like Emily, who is an inspiring entrepreneur, may feel uncertain about leaving her stable job. How would she use financial planning to reduce her fear and confidently take a step into entrepreneurship?
Quick break, everyone. If you're enjoying this episode, remember to download it for offline listening and share it with your friends or network. Sharing helps us reach more ambitious listeners like you. Want to take your growth to the next level? Join our membership program for just a few dollars a month and gain exclusive benefits designed to support you. Early access to episodes, bonus content, and even a say in future topics. Don't just listen, be part of the journey.
What's holding women back from leadership? The answer might be in the broken rung. For every 100 men promoted to manager, only 72 women are promoted. The broken rung, an invisible barrier keeping talented women from advancing to that first managerial role, widening the gender gap at the top. It's a harsh reality, driven by bias in promotion processes. But there's a way forward. Introducing UnCeiling Your Career, a powerful new book that's a blueprint for breaking through. This isn't just another career guide. It shows you how to leverage your strengths, choose strategic projects, and build the skills you need to reach new heights. In UnCeiling Your Career, you'll discover practical tools to conquer self-doubt, design a clear path forward, and network with people who uplift you. Ready to reach your unique destiny and redefine success? UnCeiling Your Career. Available now wherever you like to purchase books. Don't wait for permission to rise. Grab your copy today and start breaking through.
So I was Emily when I first decided to get in this career 25 years ago. I was really nervous about leaving, a six-figure income to earn actually nothing, as you get started in business. And I think if you're going to start to be an entrepreneur and start your own business, you really need to have plans put in place, not only your personal financial plans, but also your business plan. And it needs to be solid.
Yeah.
Not something you just decided to write down on a piece of paper and you've done none of the fact checking to make sure that it's going to happen. It needs to be a solid plan. And I know that there's classes like through Oakland County. They have classes for small business owners, people who are starting to think that they want to get into business through the SBA. So there's all kinds of different programs out there for people who want to get in your business. So I was talking with a friend the other day, and he was explaining that this was years ago, was trying to find out what he wanted to do in his life, and he was going to he decided he was going to open a pizzeria. He owned that pizzeria for 15 months, and he filed bankruptcy and lost $80,000.
Wow.
I'm like, well, what would you say today to somebody who was deciding that they wanted to open a business? And that's exactly what he said is have a solid business plan. Even though you think it's solid, make sure somebody else thinks it's solid too.
Yeah.
So work with someone who can look at your business plan. And his next advice was to make sure you had enough cash so that even if you had to go through your business and weren't able to pay yourself, you had enough cash personally to cover your expenses. And he recommended at least for 1 year so that you give yourself a chance to get that business up and going and still have your expenses paid and not have to file bankruptcy.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic advice. I went into business for myself before I came out of the corporate environment, went into business for myself, and then went back into the corporate environment. It was such a learning experience, but that advice about making sure your business plan is solid is so crucial. I did learn a lot. And when I went back into the corporate environment, I went in with so much more gung-ho, like feeling what it like to be in your own business causes you to have so much more, I think, accountability. So like, like if you're really delivering, and in that sense, it was a good experience. It was painful.
And he said, he's like, nope. I'm like, were you going to do it again? He's like, nope. I'm okay with not running my own business. Okay. You really have to have the right type of drive and ambition and wherewithal to know that you're going to at some point fall on your face, but you got to have that courage to get back up and keep going, because it's not smooth.
Yeah.
It's not smooth, especially within the first, couple of years. I think, what do most businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years?
Right.
So you have to get through that period of time.
Yeah. So having the great financial planning ahead of time helps that time period. So now another person, Rebecca, who's an aspiring academic leader, she often feels very much overwhelmed by balancing her professional ambitions with her personal financial goals. How can women in academics or similar fields use a financial planning to navigate these transitions and reach leadership roles with a sense of financial security?
I don't know that it has much to do with what role you're in, as if all women have. I think that challenge, if it's not through their career, it might be through their children, is trying to manage everything because we spend how many plates during a day
Oh my
just
gosh.
as women. So
Yeah.
I think when you work with a financial planner, it kind of takes away that anxiety and that stress because when we work with you, in the beginning, it's a little tougher because we're asking you a ton of questions and we're, making you work on your budget, which nobody really wants to ever look at their budget, but you
Yeah.
start to work on your budget and you start to build that confidence from knowing that what's coming in, what's going out, and this savings goal is going to take care of this, and this savings goal is going to take that. And if I have any questions, I can always pick up the phone and go, Paula, what were we doing with this? Why? You've got this quarterback, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really good with sports, but you're a quarterback in your corner, there to help you make decisions, help you keep you on track, help with those emotional things that go up and down when the market's going up and down and stop you from jumping off the cliff when you don't need to. And I think if I have to go and make decisions in my life and I know I've got that person and that strong team behind me that says, it's okay, you're going to be fine. Go do what you need to do in your career. And by the way, if you get a little bit that you feel like you need to call me, and I'm there to answer any questions because, we do know our clients intimately. We know what's going on in their personal life and their financial life, and we can help answer those questions that keep you up at night.
Right.
And I don't think it has anything to do with any career. I think it could just be a stay-at-home mom who wants to know and understand her finances and have that peace of mind that she's got some money that she can talk to.
Right. That's fantastic. And so this is for our listeners that may be hesitant to start their financial journey. Maybe they're afraid to take a look at what's going in and what's going out and make a few good choices. Can you share one powerful success story from your Girls Talk that illustrates how financial planning can transform a woman's life during a major transition, be it divorce, widowhood, retirement, anything like that?
Most people are hesitant to talk to a financial professional because there's a lot of guilt and shame that go behind making that decision. Because not making that decision, how do I want to phrase this? For not making that decision maybe sooner. I was talking with a woman the other day at a girl talk, and her question was, I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do. And she goes, I'm really behind the eight ball. And she goes, is that it? Can you help me? And my answer was, yes, for sure we can help you because we can take a look at where you're at today and decide, what your future looks like. And the circumstance, she was in her late 50s. She hadn't saved a lot of money. And what we did is we sat down, worked with her on a budget to see what she could save going forward, got her contributing more to her retirement plans, and had that tough conversation with her that it's okay that you didn't do all the things in the beginning. For whatever reason, it's okay. That's the past. The past does not matter, but the future does. And we want to make sure that we get you on track. Now, granted, she's going to have to work for a lot longer than she hoped to, but that's okay. At least she knows that today.
Yeah.
And so she's not wondering.
It's not a mystery.
Yes, it is a mystery. If you don't know the answers, it's a mystery.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes, we sit down and we meet with people and they're like, oh, I don't know that I can do this. I'm so afraid. And, I'm so worried that, I can't retire and that I'm going to run out of money. And then, we run all the numbers and we're like, listen, if this works out and you live till 95, you're going to die with $1 million. Does that give you enough security?
Wow, that's great.
You know what I mean? But it's that kind of things, like
Yeah.
you don't know, so you might as well go and find out.
Right.
And at least you have a path or that reassurance that you're doing things the right way. But we do see that most of the time people won't reach out to us is because they feel that they haven't done what they're supposed to do and they're embarrassed. But I say, who cares? Nobody cares.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's just figure out how we can go forward.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the most important thing. Starting with that vision, having that vision and talking to people like you so that you have that sense of security, a path forward. Well, I really appreciate this. And
you know what? There's one thing that has to be said.
okay.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Mosaic FA, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Mosaic FA is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, and services referenced here are independent of Mosaic FA.
Okay, excellent.
If you're a woman aiming for management, but stuck in the experience trap, listen up. You're talented, ambitious, but hitting a wall. You need experience to get a management role. But how do you get that experience? Introducing UnCeiling Your Career, the book that's breaking the experience trap. Discover how to showcase your leadership potential, even without prior management experience. Transform your project skills into leadership assets and build a strategic career path. Ready to climb a ladder? Grab the book, UnCeiling Your Career, today, at any place you prefer to purchase books, and start your journey to the top. Thank you for joining me on this episode of UnCeiling You. If today's conversation inspired you, make sure to download this episode so you can revisit it anytime and subscribe to the show so you never miss a new episode. For those of you ready to take your ambition to the next level, I invite you to consider joining our membership community, where you'll get exclusive bonus content, early access to episodes, and much more. Until next time, remember, it's time to take radical responsibility for your life and unseal your potential to watch the positive ripple effect unfold.